Hey there, cinephiles. So, the purpose of this video is just to kind of give an updated look at my shelves that I use to keep all my movies. This won't be a completely compiled look at my video collection like I did in 2017, since I don't have many things to talk about on here that I haven't talked about on Monday Movie Pickup, or the collection in general really hasn't changed much, just gotten somewhat bigger. But I wanted to talk about the shelves because this was the first time that I completely created shelves on my own without buying them or having them left over from something else. And if I keep backing up, you can just see the magnitude of this thing. It takes up an entire wall. It's pretty crazy. But if you actually look at it on the side, it's pretty thin. Everything kind of sticks out a lot. I've seen these designs online for quite a while, and I've been wanting to do it because I wanted to find a way to show all the movies I have and have an easy, accessible way to grab them. I started building the shelves, stained all the shelves myself, and put it together. It was pretty wacky. I had to, basically there's 3 posts in the very back that are keeping the main frame together. And when I did that, I actually had 2 boards in the back, one on the top and one on the bottom, and that kept the whole thing together. And I used that to screw it to the wall, and afterwards I would put on these other boards piece by piece and just measure it for length. And eventually I basically took the size of VHS cases as the length. So you can see on the bottom was a little bit wider because of the Laserdisc collection. And I actually have the Laserdisc collection put in here, just like this. Actually, one of them is a record, El Dorado, the Electric Light Orchestra. My favorite band of all time, one of my favorite albums ever. It's the only record I own. But I have all my Laserdiscs right here. I think this is Clear and Present Danger, Patriot Games, and Rachel River, a movie filmed in Minnesota, only on Laserdisc and VHS for some strange reason. Shawshank Redemption, Toy Story, Wayne's World, and then I have CEDs even, and Donald Duck collection, even though it's not in there. The disc itself is not in there. Return of Jafar is in the front because I think it's just hilarious that got a Laserdisc release, and I like to show it off. That's one of my proudest collectible things I own. And I have some box sets sitting down here, and so that's why this spot is wider. Everything afterwards was about the length of a VHS tape. I originally wasn't gonna put everything together like a madman, but I changed my mind after stuff basically wasn't fitting all on the shelves in order of form of media. So then I decided, well, what if I put it all together just alphabetically, put the VHSs and smush them in there with the Blu-rays. And what do you know, I was able to kind of get everything to fit. There was a couple problems. I mean, I did start to run out of room right at the end. I mean, even though I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shelves, and it goes on for about 8 feet, I still do not have really enough room for everything, and I have to keep cheating stuff like, hey, my Abbott and Costello collection, what if I just put that sideways? VHSs from the same series, like the Godzilla collection, what if I just put those sideways? Or those Disney shorts, what if I put that sideways? And original plan was these box sets, and my empty box sets, for instance, I have Singing in the Rain, which comes in a big box set just like that 10 Commandments there. I thought, why not put those all at the top like my old shelves used to be, but ran out of room. I guess I could have extended it that way, took those posters down and extended it to that wall, but at that point I think I was becoming a bit of a madman. I also decided I had to double stack it here just a little bit. I have movies under there, and then I have one row that's sideways, which is a little weird, but it was the only way I could make it fit. And it's not too annoying because I can still see everything pretty clear as day. And this is the first time it's been like this in quite a while. I haven't been able to get everything to look this way, but you know, the books had to go away. I used to have the books on the shelf, and those are in my bedroom now. The Disney VHSs, I had all the Disney VHS canon collection, which included multiple editions of different movies. I used to have those at the top of the shelf, ran out of room, so those are just sitting in the closet now. Maybe someday if I get more space, but for now, I like this setup, and there's at least room for more stuff, and if I start to run out again, I'll keep cheating it. I'll find ways to fit it all on there. Yeah, the original shelf I had was just part of a bookshelf I owned, and I only had a couple movies, so it was just sitting there. Over time, I started to get more. I used to have a separate shelf just to hold my Blu-rays. It was like a little CD stacker. And then eventually I got a bigger shelf, one that I just found in my inside of my garage, and I put that in my bedroom and put a bunch of movies in there along with books. Over time I had to add to that even, so what I did was I actually took one of the sides off of it, I extended it an entire section, and then I put that same side on for the new part of the shelf. So I basically added a third section to that shelf. And then I didn't bring that with me when I moved. I got shelves from Walmart, and I just kept buying them every time I needed one. Eventually, I compiled about 4 shelves, and at that time I was still able to show everything without double stacking. But at a certain point, I was getting annoyed of having 4 shelves in my living room. It kind of just looked cluttered. I didn't really like the look of them. And it's funny, you know, you keep buying shelves from Walmart, but you'll be amazed just over time how many different changes will happen to the way they design the shelves. I mean, over the course of 2 years, I went through 3 different ways they were designing basically the exact same shelf, different ways you could build it, and I didn't really understand why they kept making structural changes. But once I got to the 4th shelf, I took the 4th shelf down to save space in the living room, and then I decided to double stack all the Blu-rays, which was fine for a while, but you know, then you get to a point where 1, I was running out of room again, and 2, I really didn't like the double stacking. It made everything look cluttered. I couldn't see half of the movies that I owned, and it was starting to get to a point where I was like, do I own that movie? Should I go look for it? Is it worth digging through all that crap right now? And it should never be like that. I started questioning, man, I should either stop buying movies or I need to just basically get rid of some, you know, to save room. But this idea for shelves basically saved the day. This was a nice way for the living room to not look cluttered. The shelf itself looks pretty darn nice, and now you can see everything I own. And for the first time, I have everything alphabetized. I don't really have much to say about the movies in general that I own. I mean, most of you know what I own by this point if you've watched my 2017 update, or if you've been watching Monday Movie Pickup, and thanks so much for all the views. But I got a couple things here and there that I just need to update, like Dawn of the Dead. VHS of that, still waiting for a nice American Blu-ray release of that, and the only one they have is extremely rare, super expensive. Some different Disney shorts. I have the Blu-ray of Celebrating Mickey, so they've released some of the shorts on Blu-ray, but I don't have any of the Disney treasure sets, and this is the only way I basically can get a lot of the shorts currently, unless they start releasing everything on Blu-ray. Once in a while, you'll see something pop up that's VHS. Is like, all these can be updated to either DVD or Blu-ray. It's just a matter of getting to them. That can be updated to Blu-ray. Any of the VHSs I have at this point that need to be upgraded to either DVD or Blu-ray, the only reason I haven't is just because the movie doesn't interest me enough to do it yet. But some of this stuff is weird. Like, this is from 1997. This is just a bunch of different stuff about Entertainment Weekly, talking about movies that were coming out for Oscar season. Only on VHS, obviously, so just always gonna have that. It's just a weird find when you go to these thrift stores. Hammer, you know what? They're starting to release a lot of the Hammer movies on Blu-ray. This collection is just everything that Universal ever distributed. And these movies have always been hard to get. They go out of print. A lot of the releases are only Region B or Region 2. But now they're starting to release everything on Blu-ray. Warner Brothers just started getting to work on releasing a lot of the Dracula movies on Blu-ray. And Shout Factory is releasing a lot of the other Dracula movies that Warner Brothers didn't have the rights to. So that's really awesome. I have Ice Age in a case from my old video store because I lost the clamshell for it. And it's funny, that's just one movie I still haven't gotten a Blu-ray of. I mean to get the entire collection eventually. Hunting Express, this is a very weird exploitation movie that, you know, just a random find at a video store, and there's not a DVD release of it, from what I know of. See, this is the live-action Jungle Book, not the 2016 one, but actually the one from the 90s that Disney did. The Kid in Aladdin's Palace, this is one that I don't think a lot of people even know exists, because they had the Kid in King Arthur's Court. Everyone knows about that. And I remember when I went camping a couple years ago, the main lodge had a bunch of DVDs that you could rent. They had a DVD of the Kid in Aladdin's Palace. That was the first time I'd heard of it. I'm pretty sure that DVD is extremely rare, so that campground, man, I should go back there and just be like, hey, can I have that? King Kung Fu. You can go on Cinemassacre and listen to him talk about that. This Walgreens, I believe, was selling a bunch of these. I think it was Walgreens, or who knows what it was. But they were selling these for real cheap, and I thought, well, I should get as many of these as I can before they start becoming expensive online. These are all VHS cleaners, so I should have enough to last a lifetime. Other movies that gotta be on Blu-ray, I gotta get Old Brother. That's one of my favorite movies, honestly, and I still don't have a Blu-ray of it, which is really strange. There's a Nintendo 64 VHS tape promoting some stuff, so I'll just always own that. And some of this stuff is only on VHS. Mutant on the Bounty, this is only on VHS. Muppets Family Christmas, you can get a DVD of that if you have $80 because it is out of print. So, gotta just hold on to some of this stuff. The Mighty Ducks, they did release on Blu-ray as a Disney exclusive, so I'm gonna get to that eventually. You know, sometimes I just see a VHS at a store and it interests me, and I'm like, what is this? I want to watch it. Like Tom Hanks in a movie called The Man with One Red Shoe. Like, of course I want to see that. Come on. The Little Mermaid animated series on VHS. And actually, Disney just released the entire series on iTunes, so I could watch it on there, but there's never been a DVD or Blu-ray release of it, but I was just surprised that, hey, they did at least some kind of digital release of it. Our friend Martin. This is the Martin Luther King. It's really stuck in there, because this is slightly bigger than most clamshells. The Martin Luther King animated film involving time travel, and really great, underrated movie. We showed that in class a couple years ago when I was in second grade, and it's stuck with me ever since. That is a great animated movie. Great introduction to time travel movies. Our Gang, I gotta get a bunch of those on Blu-ray. The Little Rascals, before, you know, I think they used to be called Our Gang, and then they became the Little Rascals afterwards, or the other way around, who knows. And Parent Trap, the remake live-action version, also in one of those rental store VHS cases. Got a bunch of random Michael J. Fox movies. This was a TV movie. I think that was his, like, debut film, technically. Still have to watch this. I've been meaning to for a long time. He owns his own radio station, basically, and the idea of that's always been interesting to me. Just bunch of stuff. Finally can put all the SNL things together, which is really nice, with that one random VHS I have of Wayne's World. All the different Star Wars things I own. The first movies, Episode 1, Episode 2, 3, Solo, Rogue One. These are all the 2-disc editions. Different size cases, long story, but then I got right here. These are actually the limited editions, so these come with the unaltered versions on a separate DVD, you know, the quality's terrible and this aspect ratio is all messed up, but hey, at least they're on DVD. Got the special editions and widescreen. That's the only way you can see the 1997 version in widescreen, unless you got the laser discs. And then the new movies coming in those big thick cases, of course, just like Rogue One did. I think I have these in order of continuity, I believe. And then I have from Star Wars The Jedi. Still a pretty good documentary special, but if I were to recommend one, I would recommend the one that's on here, Empire of Dreams. This is the best Star Wars documentary, one of the best making of documentaries ever made. And then I have The Story of Star Wars, which is just this random DVD that's not good at all. And then a random VHS of Star Wars droids, which you could get at Cubs Food for $3.95. But the funny thing about this is actually, if you look inside, you can see it was sold, because I didn't buy this, I found this at a store, but if you look, it was sold on May 28th, 2006 for $4.21. So in 2006, apparently Cub Foods was still selling Star Wars VHSs. Kind of weird. The 200 movie packs I own, including the Tales of Terror, the one I've been going through on Conquering 200 Movies. I am 58, 57 some movies in right now. Harry Potter collection. The best way to get all the special features. Oh shit, got fallen stuff. The best way to get all the special features from Harry Potter. I got the 007 collection, which this is the one that comes with the bonus disc. 10 Commandments. Way too massive of a case. Shitty packaging also. And then finally got the Universal Monsters on Blu-ray, which I just heard they're making an Invisible Man. They're going to actually make a live-action new version of the movie from Blumhouse, doing what the Dark Universe was attempting to do. And then there's a bunch of stuff here. So yeah, as you can see, this is a really cool collection, by the way. 10 VHS's worth of public domain cartoons. As you can see though, yeah, still have a bunch of stuff to watch, stuff to update, but I've pretty much gotten every single DVD I owned updated to Blu-ray. Well, that's my look at the VHS collection. Real quick look anyway. I'll see you next time.